as we are looking at HelpAround to support families whose children have been diagnosed with rare diseases. You have a very inspiring story, and we are inspired as well by it at HelpAround. And we look at it at HelpAround from the technology point of view. All of us live now in a mobile first world. And that also means rare disease families who are taking care of their children. And what you described, Danny, is very, very true also in the US, where the system is very fragmented. This category of treatments for these diseases is called specialty. And specialty drugs is an underserved behemoth, high cost, high touch, high complexity, and pharma drug spending on these drugs is $260 billion a year. So only 2% of prescriptions are going for rare diseases, especially drugs. But look on the right, it's more than it's more than half of all drug spending. And it's only going up. 67% every year of FDA-approved drugs are specialty. This little sliver here, orange one, and big, massive pie on the right. The problem is that drug manufacturers realize that the system is so fragmented, and it's so hard to get on these therapies. So they invest $26 billion a year in patient support. The problem is that drug manufacturers rely on fragmented, siloed call centers. So they have one silo call center for patient assistance, affordability, another one for copay. And then they have a patient hub with a call center to support the patient on getting the insurance coverage. Then there's a specialty pharmacy, which is much slower and different from a regular pharmacy. And the patient is just being completely thrown off and overwhelmed by connecting to all these different vendors. Drug manufacturers are losing $60 billion a year annually because of drop-offs. And this patient journey is overwhelming. Every drug is an average $53,000 per patient per year. In the case of rare disease, it's $300,000 to $500,000 a year per patient. So that's a big, big problem for the patients, for the families, for the parents, and it's a big problem for the drug manufacturer. My personal journey was after 27 years of growing up in a universal healthcare system. I am originally from Israel, where everything is connected. We had one single medical record through the entire country. Everything is mobile. From the second that mobile was available, it was integrated. So in 2012, I became head of mobile at a company in Boston, the world's first smartphone glucometer maker. And I saw what parents of children with diabetes have to go through, children with type 1 diabetes, exactly the juggling that Danny was talking about. And in 2014, I co-founded HelpAround as a mobile diabetes network for patients, for families of kids with type 1 diabetes to support each other. In 2018, we realized the opportunity that lies ahead in specialty drugs beyond just type 1 diabetes. And we focus on simplifying the lives of specialty patients and families. But instead of building another app or another portal, we are building a patient services network for specialty therapeutics. This network, the pharma is the customer. They have the interest of getting the patient on therapy once the prescriptions have been written. Today, they use all these siloed vendors for each one of the steps, and we provide the network that connects them to the patient. And the patient gets a streamlined experience and interaction with each vendor. An example, 2 weeks ago, the FDA approved Livmarli. This is treatment for Alagille syndrome, which is a rare disease for children where children keep itching, feeling very itchy, and the parents are quite helpless. And we were honored to collaborate with Mirum Pharma on the mission to simplify the caregivers' lives. And they rolled out a patient support programs powered by HelpAround. So when you look at from the manufacturer's point of view, we offer them a SaaS gateway. It's a SaaS platform that provides an easier patient journey. These are the steps, the purple one, the steps to get on therapy. And as you see, there are different vendors every step on the way. We provide a gateway and a journey planner for every step on the way to the patient services team within the pharma. They get to put their name on it. and to start routing each one of these services to the patient through our backend. And the patient gets a mobile experience, no app needed, SMS if that's what they need. We do the personalization so that each vendor doesn't have to use their own siloed solution. The good news is that our patient services network is growing fast. We have a lot of adoption, a lot of integrators, and when a pharma comes to work with us, usually we're already integrated with their vendors. So our footprint is out there. And it also works not just for the pharma, but for the patient. Better experience, better outcomes. It takes them less time to get on therapy. 80%, most recently, improvement in time on therapy, and patients stay on therapy longer, increasing adherence. In this case, 51% increase in home infusion time on therapy. We are creating the equivalent of these market leaders. CoverMyMeds, RelayHealth, SureScripts that created the back end of the specialty ecosystem. We are creating the front end of the specialty ecosystem. And this is because our team are really the best people out there to know specialty patient connectivity, coming from Diplomat, CoverMyMeds, including the former CEO of SureScripts, who is on our board, as well as our chairman, formerly UnitedHealth, and IQVIA. If you're inspired to make families' lives easier as well, please, let's connect in Boston. You can scan this, my LinkedIn profile, or connect through our poll here. Thank you.
Thanks, Yishai. Great job. Question coming in on the Q&A. How does the platform support prior authorization and prescribing?
So prior authorization and prescribing is part of the back-end process that is happening where the patient is actually not involved. The problem is that the patient, even when that happens, the patient is not notified today what is going on. So what we do is connect to the vendors who are handling the prior auth, handling the ePrescribe platform, and routing the notification to the patient.
Thank you. You also mentioned several of your strategic partnerships. Can you talk to us about how those partnerships work, and also who are your main competitors?
Yeah, so within this ecosystem, there are a lot of players, a lot of silos. And some of them, call centers or companies that are handling prior authorization, they also decide that they want to build a patient-facing solution. They realize gradually that patient-facing and mobile is a moving target. So they partner with us. With some of them, they integrated with us. With some of them, they embedded us into their solution. So when they go to pharma, they sell us built in, very often private label. And in terms of competitors, we still see, some of these players building their own solutions. We see agencies going and building, dedicated apps that are doomed to fail in our view. And in terms of and we're still seeing some apps out there that are trying to get people to download, except 90% of all apps are removed after they used one time. So that's the ecosystem. It's a moving target, and we focus on the mobile connectivity to the patient.
Thanks, Yishai. A follow-up question about prior authorization. Can you manage prior authorization with payers?
No, we are not handling the back end of the process. We are partnering with the vendors who already do it, but we definitely help with the facilitation of the patient collection and patient interactions where they need to provide their insurance card, where you need to collect their e-consent, their approval to interact with the patient, to communicate back the status, to communicate whether there's an appeal done. So all that today is a black box to the patient. The patient has no idea what's going on. So we help bridge that gap. The prior auth continues to take place in the back end, and we route the information to the patient.